Hi, and welcome to episode 42 of the Austin Downbeat. I'm Kat, your host. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you're new to the show, thank you so much for joining. And be sure to follow and subscribe. You can catch me on Instagram at Austin Downbeat for the show stuff, and then some behind the scenes stuff from me and my life at Kat is on the radio. It's Kat with a K. So I'm so happy to bring you this guest today. But first, let's do a quick rundown of who is playing this week in Austin. That is for February 7th through the 13th. And here we go. On February 8th, we have Matt the Electrician at the O4 Center. On February 9th, Lyle Lovett is at Green Hall. Also on the 9th, Patrice Pike is at the Saxon Pub. And lastly, on the 9th, you have Susanna Schaffel and Rachel Loy at the O4 Center. On the 10th, Shaky Graves is at Scoot Inn. Also on the 10th, Jackie Venson is at Evans Amphitheater. On the 11th, shout out to Mr. Ray Prim and Scott Strickland playing at the O4 Center. And lastly, on the 13th, you have Bob Schneider at the Saxon Pub. That does it. I always look at bands in town for who's playing when here in the Austin area. So be sure to check them out. Okay, so I'm so happy to bring you this one this week. Poet Hawkins is someone that I first heard when Johnny Goudie pulled him up on stage at Opal Divine's months and months ago. And I was really, truly blown away by this guy's voice and persona and just presence. And so I invited him on the show, and he finally was able to come on. Now, we did this interview last week during the ice storm. We were very lucky to both have power, and for the internet to hold up during the interview. So I'm really grateful that we got a chance to talk. He is a wonderful human being. He is so talented in his songwriting and performing. He has lots of new music coming. He plays at Mozart's coffee shop at least twice a month. So be sure to check him out there. He's really good. And he has some South by Southwest shows coming up. So be sure to watch my channel and my social media for those dates as well as his. Let's see. I think that's it. Let me just introduce him now, and then you can just hear it from him. Please enjoy my conversation with Poet Hawkins. All right, Poet Hawkins, it's so awesome to have you on the show.
Yeah,
I've been waiting for this day to get to talk to you, so welcome.
thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Good, me too. We are talking on a very, very cold evening in Austin, Texas. And I'm so thankful that we both have power. I was just telling Poet right before we got on air, my power flickered a few times for the first time in all of this. I've been really lucky to
Yeah,
have power where a lot of folks haven't. So I'm really glad we both have power.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've been hearing trees break all day. It is
It's spooky.
scary.
Yeah. I woke up
Yeah,
this morning. I was telling my kids, I have two teenagers, and I woke up this morning in the 7 o'clock hour to like this rustling sound. And I thought, dang it, already they're getting into the pantry and like cookies or whatever, because they're teenagers. They're just like,
yeah,
eating me out of house and home. And I get out of bed and I go into the main room, and there's no one out there. And I was like,
mm,
what in the world? And then I realized, oh my gosh, I looked outside my bedroom, and it was just these poor trees are
yeah,
crackling and falling down,
yeah,
and the branches and the ice and the swaying. And it's pretty
yeah,
spooky when there's like nobody driving, the roads are quiet, and just these
yeah,
trees are making their
yeah,
sound. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Um, we are not used to this because we are both from California. So I wanted to save it for when we were actually recording. But where in
yeah.
LA are you from? Like what section? Because it's so big,
So I would say that I'm from Inglewood.
Nice.
That's where my grandmother lived, and I went to school in Fullerton.
Hmm.
And then I went into Long Beach, and then made my way into like the heart and like downtown and South Central LA, and that's where I
Nice.
stayed for many years. What
And
about
it's
you?
So well, first Santa Barbara, so a little bit north of
Okay.
LA. So Santa Barbara is really where I sort of began my, 18 on my own, carved
Mm,
out my way. I was born on the East Coast, but I really feel like I grew up in California. But
mhm.
then I landed in Santa Monica and Venice Beach, and
Mm.
I was somehow always able to make it, like, to stay like rent
Yeah.
a room, like just
Yeah.
figure it out
Yeah.
so I could be close to the water and be in the water, even though the water's kind of, I didn't surf a ton in Santa Monica or Venice because
Mhm.
the water's just really not that clean. Santa Barbara, I got really, really spoiled with Santa Barbara water
Yeah.
and waves. So, but still, I like to be near the water.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so yeah, Santa Monica, Venice Beach,
Yeah.
that's kind of my thing. But you know what? Did you see, because when did you get here into Texas?
November 2020.
So you just got here.
I just got, and my first year here, it was still the pandemic, so I didn't play,
Right.
no open mics, wasn't meeting anybody. I was just here for a year, kind of just in the house.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was actually my first year, kind of performing.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say too, so you've seen downtown LA really kind of change, because when I was there, I've been here for 10 years now.
Mhm.
And when I left, downtown was really finally becoming a place where people actually would start to live.
Yeah.
And because LA, as much as I love it, I feel like get your shit together, LA. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you want to be a big
Yeah.
city, like, get your act together,
Yeah.
just get organized. And so
Yeah.
it's like, you have cities like San Francisco where it's like, it's so easy to get around. It's so walkable, even though it's
Yeah.
huge, but it's just so
Yeah.
walkable. And I just feel like LA, it's so sprawly. And so
Yeah.
it was nice to see
Yeah.
downtown kind of putting on some, fancy pants and, like,
Yeah.
just kind of. So did you
It
get
did.
to
Let me
enjoy
see.
that?
Yeah, you probably left right as I started thriving in downtown.
Oh,
I
great.
moved into downtown, and it was at a time where the bike culture was healthy.
Hmm.
You could still walk around. It wasn't, not as many businesses, not as many lofts, but I had a chance for a few years to live and work in downtown, and it
Nice.
was amazing. The story
Mm,
that I always tell is I was able to ride my bike to work, and on my lunch break, I would ride my bike home, work on music, and then ride my bike back to work.
that's
And
great.
it was unbelievable. It was an
uh,
unbelievable time in that area.
what more do we need? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
a nice, simple. How lovely would it be if everyone could just ride their bike to work, go home for lunch, and just have like
Yeah.
a nice little existence? Like,
Yeah.
sounds pretty magical to me, quite
Yeah. It
frankly.
was.
What made you move from LA to Austin?
Oh, we don't have enough time. You know
Abridged
what?
version.
To be honest with you, it's become so expensive, and the culture there has changed.
Mm,
I was living in South Central and working in Santa Monica, so the drive to work became unbearable. And
yeah.
I've always thrived with having a 9 to 5 and working on music. Um, but I was leaving 2 hours, 2.5 hours just to make sure I could get there on time.
Mhm.
Same thing, 2 hours, 2.5 back. And the way that people were driving, it's just almost like, come on, man, we're just all trying to get
Mm,
home, in one piece.
yeah.
And it really just started weighing on me. And at this time, what is that? Maybe like 2019 to 2020, you know, you couldn't afford to live there unless you were really killing it.
Yeah.
But I've always just, I've done well, but I wasn't that corporate guy that was just going to get in there and get after it and work 80 hours a week, because I'm spending 30, 40 hours a week writing songs.
Hmm.
So, it just got to be too much. And I wanted something different for my wife and I. And she went to school in Abilene,
Mm.
and she has friends out here, and she didn't want to come. So I said, well, I'm just going to Austin where I know that, music is going to be. and it has been unbelievable. I wish I'd have come sooner, 10 years ago, actually.
Yeah. So is she happy that you guys moved?
We're working on it. It's a work in progress.
You get her on here. You pull her on and we'll
Yeah.
have a
Well,
time.
even for me, that big storm that we had a couple years ago, we
Hmm.
lived at the top of this hill, and I was literally cast sliding down the hill like on a pillow, like to get to our friends who couldn't drive up the hill, and in the snow and ice. And I was like, this is it. I don't know. So we're still both getting used to it. I love Austin, and the people here are amazing.
Hmm.
And it'll be interesting to see where we land. But
Yeah.
I think it's definitely been a great place for me.
I kind of hope you stay. I feel like,
Yeah.
where are you at on your musical journey? I know you're new here to Austin, but I feel like, so first, let me just back up before you answer that question. I found you at Opal Divines. I don't even know if you know
Oh
this.
yeah, yeah.
Did
Oh
I
wow.
intro? Okay, so yeah, because I was gonna introduce myself, but then I think you guys left, and so I
Hmm.
didn't get a chance. So I think that's when I contacted you on Instagram or something like that. But
Yeah.
you got up when I went to go see Johnny Goudie, who's a dear friend of mine. I
Oh,
love
I
that
love
man.
Johnny. Yeah.
Everybody does. I swear to God. Almost every show I mention Johnny somehow, some way, because he's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
pervasive in this community. But you popped up on stage and sang a song that I believe is not out, but it's called The Wave or Wave.
Oh wait. Yeah.
Blew me away. I just sat there and I was like,
Yeah.
first of all, of course, Johnny would bring up someone so freaking ridiculous that like I've never even heard of this kid. Like,
Yeah.
who is this guy? Second of all, as you were singing that song, I think you prefaced it with like, I just wrote it, or I think this is kind of how it goes. Like you downplayed it so much.
Yeah.
And then you start singing this song, and I could hear the way my brain works when I hear music is I could hear a full band behind that song.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I could hear the drum pad, I could hear all of it. And it
Yeah.
sounded so full and just so purposely stripped down,
Hmm.
that night. But I just was like, I gotta talk to this guy.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
I'm like, so I'm like, number one question is, when are you going to put that song out? But also, so that's when I found you. And then, in kind of diving a little more in, I see that you're working with Austin Music Foundation. So we want to talk about that. But it just,
Yeah.
backing up a little bit, where are you at now that you're kind of newly in Austin? Where are you
Yeah.
at in kind of your journey, and what's the what's the plan? I feel like there's
Um.
so much good stuff inside of you. I want
Yeah.
it to come out.
Yeah. Honestly, Kat, I feel like I'm just starting to learn how to write songs, and I've been doing this for a long time. And it's refreshing to stay in that inspired space.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the luckiest songwriter because I just live in this thing where everything, I feel so close to all of these ideas. And when they come, a song like Wave, you know, when that comes, I'm like, oh my gosh. And then something else comes after that. You're like, okay, it doesn't get better than this. And then something else comes, and then something else comes. And you just constantly, I just want to stay in that space where I'm able to connect with people on that level.
Yeah.
So I've been writing for a while. I've kind of dug a hole for myself with music that I need to put out. But that's the great thing about being in Austin, and not being in LA, is that now I can afford more things, and so I have a lot of music that I'm trying to put out. And but yeah, so I'm excited about the music that I want to release. Being in Austin, playing shows again, because the
Mhm.
pandemic kind of died down, and I almost didn't realize it, right? Because you like a year, 2 years, and things had kind of slowed down a little bit in LA before that. But I'm just excited, and I feel lucky as a writer, and any opportunity that I get to perform around town or to share music, I just want to do that,
Yeah.
and do it in a way that feels good to me, and um, just
Yeah.
kind of keep doing it, keep riding the wave, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Can that song be the next one that you put out?
So I actually have a record coming out called Electric Heart, and
Sweet.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about these songs. Some of them are older, some of them are newer, but it just the collection of songs feels so right.
Oh,
Um,
good.
Wave is actually on an album that was going to be called either Marie, named after my mother, or Monte Carlo, which is a car that my father had when I was younger. And
Yeah.
it's all about their relationship.
Wow.
Songs that I wish my father had wrote to my mom, and it just got super deep. Kat. It was like, oh my gosh. So, Electric Heart, I'm working on those. It's going to be stripped down, and then I'm going to do the other album stripped, and then work on the production after. But those are songs that people have been wanting me to put out, and
Yeah.
now that I've been in Austin, I've been able to invest in my studio and meet cool people, and I couldn't be more
Yes.
excited about the sound that I'm getting out of my room and the songs that I'm writing.
Yeah, I mean, if I can ever make any introductions for you, you just
Yeah,
call me and tell me. I feel like I love it when people when I find out that people I know each other and
yeah,
or like I'm like I want to make sure that you know this person because they
yeah.
like my friend Ray Prim. I don't know if you know him, but he's really diving in
Mhm.
this year. One of his goals is to really not only he's do you know him?
I've seen him from your page and kind of been checking him out. Yeah,
He is fantastic
mhm.
and he's such a cool guy and he also
Yeah,
produces as well and so
mhm.
a great guy to know and he's such a supporter of
Yeah,
just everybody, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
like that's just an example of just people that can help. I love helping to weave a thread in this
yeah,
community because it's such a beautiful community here and I'm
yeah.
so
It
glad
it
you're
really
here.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I'm here. It's been
Yeah.
it's been unbelievable from the moment I stepped on stage here. It's been just the most unbelievable journey that I couldn't have written it better. Basically, all the
Yeah,
things that have happened. Yeah,
that makes my heart really happy.
yeah.
How did you connect with the Austin Music Foundation and Johnny?
Oh, I love this story, Kat. I love this story. So I'm playing at some open mics, and one of them, this one was House Wine.
Mhm.
Um, and some guys are out talking, out before the thing, and this guy, he's like, yeah, and Austin Music Foundation, and they, you just talk to him and they tell you about your career, and something went off in my mind and in my body. It was just like, you need to reach out, you need to seek out that opportunity.
Mhm.
And I set a consult with Anar,
Mhm.
and the rest is history. I mean, I've done things that I would have never imagined and played places that I just wouldn't have been able to do. I mean, I see a lot of songwriters at the open mics. It's like, yeah, I just moved to Austin. I'm trying to do this. But being a part of Austin Music Foundation has propelled me in a way that I just, not only like just from the music business, but even creatively,
Mm,
having people to talk to, the encouragement, the support, when you feel like you're valued, it just does something. It just did something for me creatively. I feel like I'm writing the best music. I'm able to just really tap in on another level. So that's how, just hearing somebody talking about it and seeking out that opportunity, and meeting Johnny, Jenny, the whole team.
mhm.
It's been great. Alex, everybody just
Yeah.
took me under their wing, and yeah, we're just rocking and rolling. It's great.
I would imagine that having that, a group of people like that, because they really are just such amazing human beings.
Hmm.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. But I would imagine having that kind of um, support would probably be relaxing in the sense of like it probably helps you relax a little bit so that you can be because what you do is you really as a songwriter you're a receiver, right? You're a conduit, like
Mm,
you got to have your
right, right.
channels wide open and if you're stressed out or you don't know anybody or you don't feel supported, I would think that that would help
Mm.
relax you and really kind of help that process of writing and just receiving inspiration and creativity and being open to feeling like you could do that. because you never
Yeah,
know, right? When you
yeah,
never know when an idea is going to come in if you're not ready for
right.
it, right? So it's kind of probably
Yeah.
important. How do you stay in shape to be kind of ready to write? What's your discipline that you do for yourself?
Um, I'm super lucky in that I liken it to a faucet that I've never been able to turn off.
Mm.
I'm gonna age myself for the last, since college, 20 years. I've been writing like you would think I had a publishing deal.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
I write like I've made it. Like people are paying me. And it's something now that when I see it in real time, um, it just makes me want to write even more.
Mm.
I'll show you an example because this is super cute. I've been playing at Mozart's, and
Yes.
some kid drew. It says, like you and me on stage singing. Oh my gosh, my heart is just, and that's what makes me want to sing more. People that don't look like me, people that, are younger, older, people that, we just have this instant connection when I sing. And it's something that I can't turn off. So in terms of songwriting, I literally just sit down and play a note and something comes and I'm just open to it. And even I think when I was in college, because I started poetry,
Mhm.
and I was dating this young woman, and something in me was like, "Hey, man, this is different." And I was like, this is what I'm choosing. I'm choosing this, and I
Mm.
knew that I was saying things differently, and I've just had so many confirmations down throughout the years. So I started with poetry. I finally picked up my guitar, and then one year when I was in college, my father came to see me play, and he enjoyed it because he was a songwriter, and he
Mm.
took me into the studio. That's my first record. So all these things kind of have just been, they keep falling into place, and I just keep saying yes, and it's just unbelievable, and so
Yeah.
yeah.
You have something really special about I want to come see you play again
Yeah.
and again and again. But from my memory of seeing you that first time, really struck me as someone special. Like
Mm.
you drew me in. I wanted to know more. I wanted to hear you more. I wanted because I could
Yeah.
really hear what you were saying in the lyrics. And I tend
Mhm.
to pay attention to that. But I remember very clearly going, I want to know more about what this guy has to say. You have that
Yeah.
natural ability to do that. So I'm not surprised you have a drawing from a kid because they're kind of
Yeah.
they're the ones that are like the clearest
Yeah.
filters, right? And receivers.
Yeah. They have
So
no
I love
bias.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You do have that way about you where it's very attracting, like,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
you want to know more.
Yeah.
And your
Yeah.
voice is so good. And just talk a little bit about, so you have a couple songs out. Your latest is Wild Ride, but I want to talk about Caroline first. Because, again, I'm listening to the lyrics and I'm like, okay, and then I read on your website that maybe it's not about what I thought it was about. So talk a little
Mm.
bit about Caroline and then we'll talk about Wild Ride.
Yeah. So I was trying to write a song about North Carolina, which is where I grew up.
Mhm.
And Carolina wasn't really, the word Carolina wasn't coming. And so then this beautiful love story just started kind of forming, and that was probably around like 2012, 2013, where I was in downtown,
Mhm.
and the level of creativity was off the charts.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's a love story, but it's kind of about, North Carolina, and
Mm.
the imagery. I just love that. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good. As
Yeah.
is Wild Ride. So talk a little bit about that one and the story behind that guy.
Oh, love is so we were living in South Central, which is not one of the better parts of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And we had been married, I think at this time, maybe 2 to 3 years. And my wife was kind of having a hard time. And so I sent her down to, not all the way down to San Diego, but I can't think of the name right now. But I said, go get a hotel and, I'll come down after work. And, so she was down there. And I get down there and I'm sitting in the chair. And then Wild Ride just starts coming, Kat. And I'm just like, I'm gonna roll with this. So my wife is sitting there on the bed, and I'm in the chair, and I've got my little, laptop and set up and my
Yeah.
guitar, and it's like love is just a wild ride. Hang on to your lover. And interestingly enough, when we moved to Austin, that song really came true because we were in New Mexico, and we had to have a really difficult conversation about moving to Austin. And I was prepared for her to say, "No, I want to go back to LA."
Mm-hmm.
And I gave it to her, and we were like, okay, we're going. And we made it, and we've been hanging on. And that's an important song for me because I think there needs to be a dialogue within R&B and soul music that is very real, I think, to relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody is cheating on each other or looking at so and so or doing these bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just life. Life is just dealing you a hand that you know when you're in a relationship, it's just hard. And in some instances, you really just need to be encouraged to like just hang in there, man. It's going to be okay. And there's those good times are on the way. So actually, that now that I've been in Austin, I've been performing it. I've actually revamped it and added a couple of cool sections. So I'm really excited. The piano version will be on Electric Heart,
Oh, good.
and the response to that song has been just unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear the rest of what you're putting out. So when
Mm.
is Electric Art gonna come out? Do you have like a rough ETA?
You know, let me see, February. I'm hoping to square away some time in February. It'll just be piano and vocal. I don't want to put too much into it.
Mm-hmm.
I do a little bit of mixing. I've got someone to do the mastering.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to, as an artist, I'm rethinking Spotify and all these these distribution channels
Yeah.
almost as social media platforms because that's more uh, my speed, right? That people can actually go and listen. Like, hey, when I'm in a mood for Poet Hawkins, I can listen to this whole record rather than let me just get 30 seconds of him or let me get 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping for February, at the latest March for
Yeah.
sure. And if I have to start squeezing them out one by one, I'm prepared to do that as well.
Yeah. A
Um,
lot of people are doing it that way too. So
yeah.
yeah,
So,
good. And then let's talk a little bit about any shows that you have coming up and the best way that people can
mhm,
support you obviously is usually,
mhm.
coming out and seeing the music, which I highly
Yeah,
recommend. Um,
definitely.
yeah, what do you have coming up show wise?
So I've been playing at Mozart's coffee shop regularly. I'd
Mm-hmm.
like to shout out a great friend, Chloe Yahtzee, who kind of
Mm-hmm.
gave me my first gig here in town. And I love playing there. It is sort of like a no pressure gig. The audience has been amazing. The
Mm-hmm.
response is amazing. The view is amazing to sit by the water and sing. Um, Ironically enough, I really braved the winter, and the winter was actually, I didn't mind it, but
Mm-hmm.
the summer is coming up. So I do plan to play there if they'll have me at least twice a month.
Great.
Um, I have a show with Austin Songwriters Collective, which I'm excited about. I've got some South by shows um,
Awesome.
coming up, and I'm looking to book a show at Saxon soon. It's been interesting as an artist when you think about like a following, right? Because you can play these venues and there's traffic, which is
Mm-hmm.
good, but
Mm-hmm.
then you're not necessarily getting emails and making all these contacts and seeing your social media grow.
Right.
Um, so I'm still on that journey, but I do think I want to maybe do some sort of show at Saxon soon to kind of get a more intimate inside thing, probably for Electric Heart. Once I know that the
Yes.
songs come together, to just play them through, for that hour and have people to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a great venue. I love the Saxon Pub. They're great
Yeah,
supporters and of this show, and I love,
yeah,
so many people play there too that have been on the show, and it's just so cozy in there, and it's such a it
yeah,
just feels very the people that I've met that kind of work there have just been really kind and
yeah,
sweet and warm. It just feels
yeah,
really cozy and warm. So I could see you there for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
definitely.
Um, what was I going to ask you? Oh, the whole social media thing and like the business side, it's something that
Mhm.
we often talk about here on the show because it is a whole separate sort of arm and journey to
Yeah,
how do you do with that? Like, I know I have to do it too, and it's kind of,
yeah,
and I do, I don't know how old you are, but we might be roughly around the same. I just turned 47.
we are.
Yeah. Are we the
Oh
same
yes,
age?
I'm 44.
Oh, okay. So I'm just a little bit ahead of you.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I was talking to somebody the other day and we were kind of complaining about social media, which is very, very easy to do. And then this thought kind of came into my mind, and I was like, listen, I grew up in a home where we didn't have a computer. I didn't get my first cell phone till I was, what,
yeah,
1999. I was 23 when I got a cell
yeah,
phone with like a little antenna and a flip.
yeah,
um,
yep,
So I think our generation kind of has a real benefit too to have one foot on both sides where we can say, we've seen it. Whereas,
mhm,
I think after us, they really can't say that. So I think we have a special
yeah,
kind of perspective. And so I'm
yeah,
trying to look at social media as like, hey, this is a gift horse, you know?
mm,
So it
yeah,
doesn't make it easy, but yeah, I mean, I had someone look at my show not like last week, and they're kind of someone that could really do some amazing things for me, and the first thing they asked was, how many followers do you have? And I was like,
yeah,
I don't know, and I don't really look at that. And they were like, oh, that's
yeah,
too bad, we could have really done something great. And I'm
mm,
thinking, I don't
yeah,
want to ask people to follow me. I don't want to ask people to
yeah,
subscribe, but you kind of have to, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
how do you deal with that? Because it's kind of it's tough over here on this side.
yeah. Kat, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think I would change anything about my story. I love when I was born. I
Mhm.
love that, you know, I remember friends in real time, real relationships. You know
Yes.
what I mean? I had a phone too. I think when I was older, I
Mhm.
still have a lot of meaningful relationships from people in college.
Mhm.
There's something about being in front of people, and with all of the social media and now the artificial intelligence conversation,
Mhm.
um, I'm prepared to take a stand on. I just want to be in front of people,
Yes.
and I do want to do some of the necessary things, but it doesn't feel natural to me, you
Yeah.
know? So, again, that's why I'm sort of rethinking, even like Spotify and Apple Music, like, why not put your demos there? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because that's
Sure.
where people are. That's where people go to listen to music. And so many people, I think, want to hear my music. Hey,
Yes.
let me just put something up there that's not perfect.
Yeah.
Or let me, share that side of myself. So I'm thinking of ways to do that. But I also love writing and music so much that um, I'm prepared to accept, whatever the universe is going to give me. And I think I'm fortunate that I've seen. I don't know about you, but I've also just looked at music differently. Like I think there are people out there that people don't know that are really working, right? Like I was researching some artists today, and they have like 200,000 monthly listeners, but they're not widely popular to the world. So I feel like maybe I'm a little bit off the beaten path,
Mhm.
and I'll be happy with that. I'm not really chasing.
Yeah.
I think some of the things, and I also feel like I don't know that I want to keep that up. You know, I want to be a great husband. I want to have children. I want to really serve artists. I want to
Yeah.
be a part of some great records, and this is a wonderful community. So that means more to me than say, hey, I've got a million people,
Yeah,
because it doesn't always translate financially.
true.
So I'd rather do things that are like, hey, man, this guy's, you know, doing decent, but he's not really pushing social media like that. And it's still possible. There's so many different possibilities. And, I think I hope more artists really take a stand on just writing, being the best writer they can be, and also just still being in front of people. That's the
Yeah.
most important thing.
I don't, I think you and I have been around the block long enough to kind of see these trends and, decades kind of go by.
Hmm. Yeah,
80s, 90s, the aughts, the whatever. And every so often I see a coming back around to the old school way.
yeah,
And it's been so many times now that I feel so reassured in
yeah,
the depth of me to be like, okay, just the older I get, I see the trends and I see the easy buttons pop up, but
yeah,
I don't think that you can, in this human experience that we're all having, I don't think you can usurp what is
yeah,
true and what is right and what is good. And
yeah.
this human, I wish this were in person, but like this human contact that you and I are having,
Hmm.
even from a Zoom, this is the real deal. You can't,
Yeah,
there's nothing better
yeah,
than genuine human connection,
yeah,
whether you're
definitely.
standing up and singing, having a conversation, having a cup of coffee with someone.
Yeah,
I just don't think you're ever going to be able, or that we will ever cheat or forget that,
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, there's games that we have to play and analytics and all that kind of stupid
yeah,
stuff. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's not why we're doing it. And it
yeah,
feels so good to be resolved in that and be
yeah,
like, no, it has nothing to do with the point.
yeah,
The point is to have this, what we're having right here,
yeah,
and to give that to the people.
yeah,
So that's reassuring. You know,
yeah. Yeah, that
yeah.
makes sense. I feel like, I feel healthy. I mean, I feel amazing. I have this sort of natural high that I don't have to,
Hmm.
not that, people are into whatever they're into, but I think, those levels of success and that pressure as you start climbing, it becomes a lot. And you have to you have to understand, like, is this going to be something I can sustain?
Hmm.
Or am I going to have to look for something to like get me there or bring me back? And, I just don't, I've never sort of been that, I come from just a hardworking family. And like I said, I thrive when I have a 9 to 5 and I know that my lights are going to be on and I can put
Yeah.
gas in the car. I write like a crazy person. I tell people, like, when I clock out from work, you would think I didn't have a job,
Wow.
because I'm just so much of an artist. And even my space, my creative space it's just ready. I'm ready to be creative. I mean, you can't see it now. There's one, two, three, four, five. There's like 5 keyboards here. There's 14 guitars. It goes down.
Can we just give your wife, I feel like,
Yeah.
can you just tell her I love her? I don't even know.
Yes.
What is her name? Just tell me her name.
Kamari. Kamari. Yeah.
Kamari. I feel, I mean, both of you are just precious, but I just feel
Yeah.
like your wife really deserves a hug.
Yes. She does. She does.
She sounds like the most amazing woman ever.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
so glad the two of you have each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm so glad that you guys are here. I hope that she finds some some
Yeah.
foundation and some community and finds that here because it really is a great city. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm working on it. She plays piano as well, and she's a
awesome.
singer. But she's also strong in so many areas. So I'm really hoping that she kind of gets into it with more music. We've actually done songs together.
That's
Our
great.
wedding, we gave out a CD at our wedding, that had songs that we sung on it. And
Oh,
whenever we get the chance to sing, we do. So
I
yeah, she's
love
been a huge
that.
part of uh, maintaining, that thing, which I think is important for everybody. Choosing the right partner is so important because it's not, every day you're kind of rolling the dice on, like today I got a call and I was really excited. And tomorrow, I might be struggling with this one pre-chorus and I'm just going to feel really down. Having somebody that, keeps you right there in the middle, and encourages you and supports you is so important.
It really is a partnership. It really is two
Yeah.
individuals that have to be really okay with the other person being an individual. And
Yeah.
and I love that idea of just, yeah, just that mutual respect for
Mm,
who the other person is, independent
mm,
of the relationship. No code. I mean, of course, there is codependency in the sense of certain things, but like
yeah.
healthy codependency,
Right.
right? So it
Right.
sounds like you guys have that. You just come across, just having seen you sing one time,
Mm,
you come across as just someone that is just very clear,
yeah.
crystal clear
Yeah.
on who you are, what comes out of you, how you write. You come across like that.
Yeah.
And so it's so neat to finally get to talk to you because I never know. I'm like, you think you
Yeah.
you think you know who someone is. We kind of judge in a kind way.
Yeah.
Um, but it's always so much fun to then sit down and talk to someone because and really
Yeah.
find out kind of what's behind that curtain. So I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you're doing that with us today. I just got a notification that my internet is unstable, so I'm really
Okay.
hoping that we make it through.
Hang on, internet.
I
Hang
know, I'm
on.
like, I don't want to lose this interview. So
Yeah.
we'll wrap up in a couple minutes, but I did want to tell you that I was just interviewing a wonderful, do you know Erica Michelle?
I don't know that I've met her yet.
Okay,
Maybe.
she's
Yeah.
fantastic and she's like the real deal. Like,
Yeah.
I love her so much, but it reminded me of her because she put all of her stuff on Spotify and it's
Mhm.
all in chronological order. I think that was her.
Mm.
But she's like, I have demos on there. I'm sitting in my
Yeah.
bathroom. She's like, on this song, I'm in my bathroom on the floor
Yeah.
recording it. And she's like, I thought that's how people did it.
Yeah.
So it reminded me of her, and I just wanted to encourage you, absolutely put stuff out so people
Yeah.
can hear it because we're
Yeah.
just hungry for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to encourage you to do that. We want more
Yeah.
poet.
The response to these songs is it floors me and it keeps me just right in that space that I don't want to leave. I'm like, if people are really resonating in with this, then I'm not moving away from that. And songs like Wave and all the songs that I've probably written
Mhm.
um, stay true to that voice and that space. And I hope to just kind of always do that, and that people also can keep me accountable.
Yeah.
You don't want to like. I think people that have known me for 20 years, like when they hear me, they're like, okay, he's still pushing. He
Mm.
hasn't really like said, okay, I try not to write from my talent. I
Mm.
really try to write from a very genuine space, and it brings out just these really uh, vulnerable and heart touching songs.
Question, does that make you feel like, what if you were part of a songwriting group? Would that be something that you might not want to do because it's more mechanical? Does that sort of
Mm.
go against then what you just said?
It doesn't if it's the right setting. I
Mm.
think I wouldn't be comfortable with some of the new things. People are trying to write things intentionally for like TikTok or to
Right.
go viral. I don't think I'd want to be a part of that. I would like to be a part of some really special songs and using the talents and the tools and the techniques that I
Mhm.
know. And I think moving forward, especially with uh, this whole AI thing, which is really getting on my nerves, it's going to be important for songwriters to really step up and say, "Hey, man, you can't replace what we do." It's just not. It's not even the right thing to do, not from a business standpoint, not from a human standpoint. And so I'm hoping that I'll just be able to do my part by releasing music that says, you can't get this from a bot, or you can't get the same thing in person.
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So I'm excited and ready to keep getting after it. I feel great.
Awesome. All right. So you play at Mozart's what day of the week? So that's twice a
So
month.
usually on the weekends.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
so I think I'm there February 5th, 2 to 5, and then the 18th, 2 to 5. February 9th is the ATX Songwriters. Um, yeah, and I'm actually playing. I like to shout out Mitch Ballard and
Oh, yeah.
Christine Townsend at BMI. I'm playing it's at the Willie Nelson, the Lake Reunion. Is that
The Luck reunion.
the
Luck.
Luck Reunion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm playing Luck Reunion, which is I'm so excited
Fantastic. Yes,
about.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. Okay, good.
so
Well, I can't wait to shout that stuff out. Poet, thank you so much for
thank
stopping
you for
by
having me.
and
This was wonderful.
braving the unstable internet connections.
Yeah, hopefully no trees fell during this interview.
I know, I'm sure we lost a few. It's so sad. Hug your wife for all of us and
I
have
will.
her hug
I
you.
will
You
definitely.
guys are amazing. And I cannot wait to come and see you play again live. And I will be sure to let everyone know when these shows are in real time. As you push them out on social media, I will
Yeah,
re-push them as well. Thank you so much
yeah,
for spending time with me and coming on.
yeah. And I'll be at the Sheridan Backyard March 17th as a part of South by Southwest with
Awesome.
the Awesome Music Foundation. Amazing lineup of artists, a really special class of people. But thank you so much. This has been wonderful. I've
Yeah.
been looking forward to this. I wish we could have did it on my birthday, January the 18th, but
Oh, we have
yeah,
almost the same. Yeah, we're just a
yeah,
little bit away from each other. Are
yeah.
you Aquarius?
I'm Capricorn.
You're Capricorn. Okay, so we're,
Yeah,
that's okay. January babies. Oh,
yeah.
I
But
know,
thank
I
you so
know.
much.
Awesome. All right, Poet. Well, we will see you next time. This has been
Okay.
another episode of the Austin Downbeat. I'm Kat, your host. That is Poet Hawkins.
All
We will
right.
see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.